President Obama makes his endorsement of Hillary Clinton official, despite the fact that his administration is investigating her use of a private email server that may have put national security at risk. In a video that was actually recorded on Tuesday, President Obama argued she's the best person for the job. Watch.
I know how hard this job can be. That's why I know Hillary will be so good at it. In fact, I don't think there's ever been someone so qualified to hold this office. And I'm with her. I am fired up, and I cannot wait to get out there and campaign for Hillary.
This comes on the same day President Obama sat down with Mrs. Clinton's Democratic challenger, Bernie Sanders. Afterwards, Mr. Sanders was not ready to say that he is exiting this race, but he did signal a willingness to help defeat Donald Trump.
I spoke briefly to Secretary Clinton on Tuesday night, and I congratulated her on her very strong campaign. I look forward to meeting with her in the near future to see how we can work together to defeat Donald Trump.
Following all that, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts got in on the action, taking Mr. Trump on for his comments about Judge Curiel in that Trump University case, dropping a loaded charge in the process.
Trump is picking on someone who is ethically bound not to defend himself. Exactly what you would expect from a thin-skinned racist bully. Donald Trump is a loud, nasty, thin-skinned fraud who has never risked anything for anyone and who serves no one but himself. That's right.
Joining me now, Charles Krauthammer, a Fox News contributor and author of the book Things That Matter. Charles, great to see you. So what does it tell us now? You've got the president endorsing Hillary. You've got Bernie signaling the end is near. And earlier this evening, you had Senator Elizabeth Warren come out full-throatedly in support of Hillary.
This is all a carefully choreographed kabuki play. And I think it's rather well done. It starts with the honoring of Sanders by having him meet with the president, the vice president, the head of the Senate. Then you get the official endorsement, which, as you said, had been recorded already on Tuesday. In a year of 100 surprises in this campaign, this was the least surprising of all developments. Then you get Bernie Sanders coming out, not withdrawing, because that would have been seen as a capitulation. The withdrawal has to wait about a week, and that'll be the D.C. primary. He said, I'll contest that. Then obviously he will step aside. He'll have his meeting with Hillary. They will decide on what the price is for his acquiescence and support, and then there'll be the joint announcement. You could write this script in advance, and everybody's playing his or her part.
So the Dems are coalescing, and
yes,
we're seeing something very different in part on the Republican side. I mean, Trump has managed to get some 86% of the GOP behind him, but the new polls, as we just discussed, show that he's down. He's down 6 points from the last poll we did, the head-to-head matchup, and he's down within those numbers significantly. Now 11 points, Charles, with independents. That seems to be where the loss came from.
Well, I think it's pretty clear where the hiccup is coming from, and that is from this statement he made about the so-called Mexican judge born and bred in Indiana. You know, that kind of, there are a lot of charges and mistakes and slips you can make in American politics. Racism is the one unforgivable one. Jimmy Carter once spoke offhandedly in 1976 when he was running about ethnic purity in neighborhoods. And he was absolutely dead in the water until he made a joint appearance with Martin Luther King Sr., who essentially gave him absolution. And I think this is a little bit different. I don't think it will sink his campaign, but it certainly accounts, the statement about the so-called Mexican judge, it certainly counts much more than any of the other slip-ups. When you get the leader of your party in the Congress, meaning the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, saying that this is a textbook case of racism, you've got a real problem. And then as a result, you get one senator in Illinois who withdraws his support of Trump. You get the governor of Wisconsin, very popular guy, who's suspending his support. So the coalescing that was happening after Trump won Indiana is now on hiatus.
But you know, the thing about Trump is people express their outrage when he makes these incendiary statements. And then they seem to move on from it very quickly. You know, Trump, he he does a lot of controversial things, but it seems like his supporters believe they can see right past that to a good man who just says stuff that gets him in trouble. And the line is, he's not a politician, he's not filtered, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know. Like, there's nothing in the past to suggest this is going to affect him in November.
But let's remember, as you said, his supporters is the key phrase in what you said. His audience until now has been Republicans, with a large plurality supporting him. His supporters won't be swayed by this one way or the other. But as you also pointed out, with independents, he's now down. I mean, he's lost quite a lot of ground among independents. Those are the persuadables. Those are the people who don't like Hillary and they don't like Trump, and they're going to have to choose. But an issue like this can damage him in a way that can be really difficult to recover from. I'm not saying it will. He's defied all the odds. But I think if you want to account for what's happening now, yes, no movement against him among his supporters, but it's the non-supporters, the waverers, who are the real prize here.
What do you make of it? You mentioned Scott Walker, and we reported last night that there is a movement underway in earnest right now to actually get the delegates at the Republican National Convention not to vote for Trump, even though he's the presumptive nominee on the first ballot, to abstain. And the name they're circulating now as a possible alternative is Scott Walker. And somebody asked Scott Walker about it and said, are you, and he said, I said I would support the nominee. Trump's not the nominee yet. Do you think that this has any chance? I mean, I know the judge thing was controversial, but was it that controversial?
This is a repetition, if it ever happens, of the parting of the Red Sea. And that happens only every few thousand years. There is no way this is going to happen. This is another of the fantasy of people who can't accept the reality of Trump. Trump is a reality. He's going to be the nominee. Can you imagine if the guy comes in with a fairly substantial majority of the delegates, or at least the pledged delegates who have to vote for him first ballot, and he's denied that? I mean, Trump has talked about riots in the arena, you know, with a kind of an ominous edge. But that is a prescription for mayhem in Cleveland. I can't see it happening.
Great to see you, Charles. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.